Hello, everybody. How we doing tonight? Quite the day in trading, wasn't it? Quite the day in trading. Usually I do pretty well on range days, but today was really a bullish range day, but it was a range day nonetheless. Yeah, what a toughie. I came out in the red. We have those days. I grounded out, was down 1,500. I come back up to about 100 up, 150 up maybe, somewhere along the way in a couple of trades, and then ended up right back down to 1,300, had to call it. No, I did not blow any accounts for once, which is nice. I don't blow too many of them anymore, which, I mean, I wish it was none, but it's just kind of the nature of the beast sometimes. As my discipline gets better, I blow less accounts. So I highly recommend you working on that if you're having trouble. Certainly. It's all about how you react. Your morning routine. Make sure you have a cup of coffee and you don't just start pushing buttons right away. It is your money. Treat it like a business. You don't want your business to lose money. Otherwise, it's just everything trickles right on down. Everything goes to shit if your money goes to shits. So keep track of your money. Excuse me. Anyways, so this is a 5-minute of today. I marked out a couple of spots that, just showing how there's a textbook channel in here. The daily bias was bullish, which I will show you here in the next screen, but let's talk about this one a little bit. These green arrows right here is where I caught a couple of good shorts. There's really good trades. I caught this one almost all the way down and got out. I caught this one all the way down until it hit the channel. By then, obviously I was in the rhythm. I could see what it was doing. And then I was simultaneously watching Top Step, all the guys on there, and we were all going short right here. It really, really looked like it was going to let loose and dump. Look what it did. It did the opposite. It respected the channel. I went up to the top. We thought I was going to drop down and hit it here again, which, of course, was logical when you look at it. But things happen. You can't control the market. You never know what it's going to do. If anybody knew what it was going to do, they wouldn't need to do anything else except predict a couple of trades, put a million contracts on it, and Bob's your uncle. With these channels, when you draw up your lines, it does wonders. You see all my pivot points, all the levels drawn up from the higher time frame. And now each one of these spots hits on one. Tink, tink, tink. These lines were all here before these touches happened. So if you do all this stuff, you study your charts, you're gonna at least improve at minimum. You got to educate yourself. There's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube. I mean, you got to be looking at the more complicated stuff than just price action, just what the candles are doing. There's more than just red and green candles and wicks that are going on here. Sure, don't count out price action. You have to have it, in your repertoire. It's certainly one of your confirmations that you should be having. Another is volume. I stare at volume all day. I have 2 different book maps that come up and a couple different versions because, one has the ES and it relates to the NQ, which I trade. The NQ, of course, is what this channel is called. So there's one that I have side by side, and then one is just the NQ with its volume and its order book. But right now, speaking of which, in the slow market, there is a big volume band at 21,350 and another volume band at 21,300, and the price is right basically in between the two at 21,322. right in the middle. Usually like this early on in the evening. But when Japan opens or New Zealand opens, I guess, which I believe is here pretty quick, another half an hour, it'll start to move a little bit. And then the London Open comes in shortly thereafter. A couple hours after that, I think 2 a.m. is when the London opens, which is most of us are sleeping. But that's another thing to pay attention to during your trading day is when those markets are closing or when they're at their peak. Depends on when you get in and start your trading day. But always keep in mind your global market open and closes. Always keep track of what news is going on for all of them, especially the big ones. I mean, there's a couple of economic calendars you can look at out there. I use Financial Juice. You also have, let's see here, there's a couple on here. You have Bloomberg, investing.com, AMP Futures, the CME Group. They all give you an economic calendar of what news is going on. Financial Juice is just the best laid out, I think. So I use Financial Juice just right there. I keep that in one screen and minimize it and bring it back up just to remind myself. Speaking of which, that's another thing to keep track of, what time of day it is that you're going to put in a trade. Always study before you enter a trade. I like to have at least 4 confirmations, but it's tough to keep your brain working that fast. You gotta be looking at where's the RSI at? What's the price action doing? What's your channel doing? What's trend? What trend are you in? What's the daily bias? Where's your liquidity? Where is your volume sitting? What does the market seem to be doing? You have to. It's important to journal these things, throughout your day if you can. Just keep up with it. I mean, if you're doing it throughout the day, you're trading less. Do more homework. Do less trading, and you'll start to see positive results for sure. Otherwise, maybe you're just not built for it. It takes time. Anything with reward takes time. It's not just something that's going to fall on your lap. It is not easy. Nobody will tell you that trading is easy. I haven't heard it once yet. Not anybody. Let's go to here we go. So here's the daily. Our daily bias was right here for today. This is what we were basing it off of. We knew that because it not only met the day before that's high and then closed above it, that today would be a bullish bias again. So, of course, we reached its peak and we closed above its peak. So, again, we're looking for a bullish daily bias tomorrow, which is already open. That's what you see here on this little candle. And we've already gone above the closing of today's. So we're already on an upward run as it is. I called the 21,350 yesterday, and we almost got to it, but not quite. I think we hit the 30s or something a little bit earlier after we opened. It looks like, right here, 333 or something. It looks like. So I believe we're gonna hit that mark, and we're gonna be bullish tomorrow. But we'll see what happens overnight. We still have the overnight highs and lows to deal with, and after that happens, we'll have a better idea of what's going on. But that's why we get up at 6 a.m. and start looking at charts and see what we think maybe is going to happen. Start looking at what the volume projections are for the day, what the volume was for yesterday, the open and closes. Keep track of all your numbers. Every day is open, close, high, low, where the VWAP varied between, what the daily bias was. Keep track of your wins and losses so it's there in your face all the time. Keep your journal nearby. You want to write in it throughout the day. You want to keep track of your trades. You want to keep track of where you entered, where you exited, where it stopped you out. Always have a stop, by the way. Don't ever think because it wicked your stop. I'm telling you, I can tell you, I learned this the hard way, and it didn't take only one time. Always have a stop, or you're going to be fucked. I mean, I don't know a better way to put it. I'm sorry. But it does appear that we are going to have another bullish daily bias. And that makes sense for December. But I want to keep – this is what I do every day for my journal. I basically print out the chart, write some notes on it, and I keep track of trades on another sheet. Then I hang these up. I usually keep, 2 trading weeks worth. And when you line them up side by side, and you start to see patterns and how yesterday's close and today's open kind of meet up a lot of the times and stuff like that. And you always want to keep track of your previous day's value areas. All this information is super, super, super handy when it comes to deciding whether or not you're going to enter a trade. Absolutely paramount. We're getting up to 21,330 in the NASDAQ right now, and 60.65.50 in the ES at this very moment. We're just past halfway between those two liquidity spots that I was talking about, and we got a lot of green on the order book right now. So it's looking like we're going to keep moving up. But today's daily recap, I'm just being transparent here. I fucking lost, and I moved my stop once from my determined point, and every time I do that, I get hammered. It goes and it catches me every time. Therefore, I'm losing more than I should have, more than I planned to risk in the beginning of the trade. Another thing I noticed about myself is that where I want to enter my trade, I should probably put my limit order a few more clicks below or above, depending on whether I'm going long or short in that particular trade, because usually it always comes down a couple more ticks, and therefore your trade gets cheaper. Another thing on that note also is determining whether or not the trades are cheap is the rest of your confirmations. Where's the liquidity at? What's the RSI looking like? Where's the price action in the middle of the range, or is it the top of the range, the top of the channel, below the top of the channel? Is it the EMA? A lot of us use the 21 EMA. It depends on what chart I'm looking at, what time frame. But the 2 minute usually have the 21 EMA. Use it as a good marking point, and then I have the 9 EMA right alongside of it, for retest points and stuff like that. And so another thing is your pivot points. Look back on at least a week's worth of data. 15-minute chart. I use a 15-minute, 5-minute, 2-minute are the ones I'm looking at as far as which ones relate to one another the best. Mark out where price clearly reversed, whether it went to the high and reversed the low, or the low reversed to the high. You can easily get your own pivot points and tell a lot of spots you want to, you don't want to enter a trade in between them. You've already got them marked out. It's already been shown that those spots are points of interest. You want to keep track of them and use them as a confluence, as as a confirmation where you're going to enter and where you're going to exit a trade. You don't need to be setting these, targets to be, 3 pivot points away. If you're keeping track of them, you're going to know that they're usually, every 25 points, there's going to be another pivot point of some sort normally, at least every 50 points. And that's a run right there. Anybody hitting a 50 point, that's a home run. Most day trading scalpers, if you're scalping, you're not going for 50-point runs. You're going for base hits every time. 5 to 15 points. 15 point is a double in my book. 15 points is a double in my book. That's damn good. That's a damn good swing. Take it. You don't always have to sit and wait for it to hit your target. If it seems like it's gonna go back on you, if there's confirmation that it looks like it's going to, as far as volume, as far as what's going on your book map or whatever it is you're looking at for your volume, keep an eye on it. And then get the shit out of the trade. Get out of the trade. Take the money while you got it. Move your stop up into your profits. Don't move your stop away from where your determined profit is. Anytime you move your stop away, anytime I move my stop away, I get burnt. It's just not smart. If you're going to move that stop, move it into your profit. But don't chase it so closely that you lose out on a good run of the trade when the candle grabs its legs. Because sometimes it does. And all you got to do is just be a little bit patient. If you're up in the profit, if you've got it to where you're marked as a free trade, if you've got your stop loss above where you started, let it run out for a little bit and then slowly trail it manually. Or you can set up your stop losses to automatically trail. Sometimes it, depending on what the volume is in the market, whether or not, you should have a couple different ones to how closely it trails to it. Sometimes it'll, trail it to you, and then it'll be moving enough because of the volatility in the market and come back and catch your stop prematurely. But as long as you can get a little bit of pattern and get your stop loss up into your profit so that it's a free trade, you're not losing anything. But you don't want it to, if you got a trailing threshold, like a lot of the prop firms do, then you can't go too far above your starting point anyway without having your trailing stop up. Otherwise, that goes against your threshold. If you're in 4 contracts and you're up 20 points, that's damn near the amount of your threshold as it is on a 50K account. So if it drops back down that 20 points, there goes all your threshold. You don't have to close out on the trade and lose that 2,500 in a 50K account for Apex to lose that threshold. If it's a live trade, if that trade is in there, and it's moving it, and it goes up 40 points at 4 contracts, and then comes back 30 points, it's gonna blow your account. It's over. You have to manage your trades. You have to babysit them. That's the way it is in day trading. It's the way it is in scalp. Until you get a live account where you can do whatever you want, it's your money. You have to maintain your trades. You have to. If again tomorrow is certainly a bullish daily bias. We only reached, but we exceeded and closed above the high of yesterday. This right here, high of yesterday, closing of today. Closing of yesterday, closing of today is above the high of yesterday. Closing of today is above the high of yesterday, and of course above the closing of yesterday. There's videos out there that explain a lot better than I just did. That was shit, but don't just let the green tell you it's a bullish bias tomorrow. That's not how it works. It's where the high was reached, where it closed. Was the high reached of yesterday? Did it close above it? That's simple. There's 10 to 50-minute videos out there, maybe even longer, that explain that a little better. But this line right here can go. I don't know what the hell that's there. Oh, never mind. This is a screenshot, so But anyways, that's we'll go ahead and conclude for today. This is at the moment for myself anyway, because I have no followers on this channel. But I figured the YouTube algorithm, the more consistent you are, the more they'll show your stuff. And hopefully there'll be more of us in here to feed off each other soon enough. I'm just gonna keep up on it because I mean it's kind of like my own trading journal. I'm gonna go ahead and spit out what the info was, so I have it for later. This is another thing I look at all the time is the NASDAQ historic. Yeah, sorry about that. That was just amateur move. Go back in here so I can show you what I was talking about before I effed it all up. And go. So this is another site to look at all the time. This is a NASDAQ historical data. Gives you every day. I just wanted to put this in here. Very handy. Keep track of your numbers this way. I usually print up this sheet in a month. I go right here to the whole 25 days anyways. I print the sheet up so I can look at it. If you're feeling spunky, you can put in, you know, the data in an Excel sheet and give yourself a graph of what it's doing, or you can just look at, the charts on your trading platform. But let me, while we're in here, let's look at another one that I look at all the time. This is, I moved it. There's Financial Juice. Financial Juice. Let's look at tomorrow's news here. A couple UK, German, and it appears that this one is too. US S&P services. US ISM, US factory orders, month over month. Oh yeah, tomorrow's here. Doing something, follow the rules. And if you're not, be disciplined or you will not be profitable in this game. It is a game. It can be won if you're smart about it. Don't throw fits and trade out of emotion or the need to be right. It's okay to be right about things, but I still trade simultaneously with a sim just on ones that I'm not sure about, and then I can make notes of them too. I mean, it's all about homework. It takes work. It takes thought. It takes persistence, and it takes patience. But if you stick with it, you don't quit, you keep trying to learn, find the right education. You don't always just have to go and pay some 20-year-old kid to teach you how to read candlesticks. It's a little deeper than that. There are, however, some very knowledgeable people out there that show you what they're doing basically for free. You got to put your own head to it and figure it out and just listen. And it takes time, but stick with it and everything's going to be good. But we are at about the 30-minute mark. I'm still talking to myself, but just trade smart. And if you want the best discounts at Apex, please use my code. If you don't, they get the $5 instead of me. I mean, it's no big deal to, help your fellow YouTuber out, please press like when you watch this. But just throw out a couple names here of people that I've been watching, you know, that have helped me a lot. Trades by Matt. Patrick Weiland. You're the man, homie. Patrick cracks me up. He's a fellow Florida boy too, so that's cool. ICT, man, that guy is a genius. His stuff is pretty complicated, but it really helps if you can keep up. I watch Titans of Tomorrow. Of course, I watch the Riz, and then you can just kind of see they throw in little things here and there. You know, if you're listening, you can pick them up, and they really help. And it's a good they're good people to look up to. Usually, the guests that are on there, and it's a good way to hold your demeanor. You know, it's just you can just learn a lot by how people are, how they hold themselves, what information they give up, how they are as people. You know, you can usually tell a lot about a person by listening to them for an hour. You know, and if you're feeling down, listen to Andrew Tate. Sorry, all you haters out there, but he just calls it like it is, man. Maybe y'all are too sensitive for that. I don't know what you're thinking, but that I can be lifted up anytime I listen to Andrew Tate. Just take responsibility for your own actions and your own bullshit. If you lose, it's on you, man. That's what's great about this game. There's you can't blame anybody else but yourself. Just stay with it. Stay persistent. Stay patient. And if you're not clear-headed, if you're not reading the market right, get out. Make rules for yourself. Be disciplined in what you do. And you will improve and you will progress. So until tomorrow or the next time, y'all take care of yourselves. Have a good night.